Hello and welcome back. It's been a bit of a hot minute, I'd say. I know I've been uploading these podcasts over from my friend Jamie's channel. Make sure you go over there as well, just a little side note, and give her a little sub and a few likes. I know she'd appreciate it as well. I've been wanting to film another video for the past week or so, but first I was ill, I had a really bad head cold. Nothing you can do about these things, just got to get over them. And then a couple of other things happened, circumstances, what have you. But now we're here. Anyway, today we're going to take it back to basics, to the beginning, to my diagnosis. My diagnosis is very long. It's 5 or 6 pages long of all. It's a big summary of many interviews and meetings that psychologists had about me. In eventually deciding on a diagnosis of ASPD. But yeah, so we're going to get into that and read that now. Keep it in this little bad boy right here. I made this out of multiple self-report test results, my diagnosis. I think it's really good if you're a neurodivergent individual of any kind to have some sort of a dossier, a track record, and that way it can be used. Like therapists find them very handy. If you're looking for therapy and you've got one of these, it does help speed the process along of whether that therapist can help you or not, especially if you've got what's considered a more severe or complicated condition. So yeah, we're just going to get into it. I'm just going to read you the diagnostic notes for now, and then I think we'll carry on a little bit. In this country, in the United Kingdom, we don't use the DSM-5, which more people are familiar with than not. That's the American psychologist's Bible, is the way to put it. We do use a lot of DSM-5 terminology though. We use a book in this country called the ICD-11. I think we're on the 11th. It's the Internal Classification of Mental Disorders, something or other. I'm probably butchering that. I was diagnosed using that manual, so the traits that I'm about to read off, the diagnostic traits, are from that manual. But and by the way, ASPD in the ICD-11 is called dissocial personality disorder, which I kind of prefer, to be honest, to antisocial, because antisocial in this case is referring to law breaking, rule breaking, and that is something that people like myself and people like me very often do, often throughout our entire lives. But I don't think that should define us, especially on paper. So I'm much more of a fan of dissocial personality disorder. I think I like the way it sounds as well. But anyway, so you have to meet, I think the criterion for it, or the criteria for it, is it's 3 traits out of a possible 6. I've scored on paper a 5 out of 6. It has been argued by therapists, probation workers, that I do meet for the full criteria, according to both the DSM and the DSM-5 and the ICD-11. So we're going to get on with it anyway. The impression here is that Dorian is a 22-year-old gentleman. This was back in 2023. I'm almost 25 now, in 9 days to be exact. He is presented today with antisocial personality disorder. He has strong preferences, opinions, and rigid thinking styles. He has also mentioned of intense interest. And the diagnostic traits are as follows. I'm going to go, they're listed 1 through 5, so I'm going to go through them all with you. Number 1 is a callous unconcern for the feelings of others, a gross and persistent attitude of irresponsibility, and a disregard for social norms, rules, or obligations. Now this is a bit of a funny one with me, because ever since I got diagnosed and I did went into a bit of a rabbit hole about myself and my condition, this particular trait, it has lessened, but it comes up in waves. It very much goes like a wave on a heartbeat monitor. But you know, improvement is improvement. Number 3, an incapacity to maintain enduring relationships, though with no difficulty in establishing them. I wouldn't say no difficulty now. I'd say there is great difficulty. I don't really have much of a tolerance for most people. That is something that I'm trying to work on. More on that to come. A very low tolerance to frustration and a low threshold for the discharge of aggression, including violence. Yeah, that is a very big one. I've been involved in multiple physical assaults all throughout my life, from being as young. I think the first time I ever physically really attacked somebody was when I was about 10 or 11 years old. It was another kid, very violent stuff. And from then on, it's just more or less stayed the same. But it's not all the time. 99% of the time, I'm not out there fighting. But I still remain undefeated to this day. I have never gone down in a fight, and I've never lost. I am proud of that. And lastly, the last trait was, is an incapacity to experience guilt. Yeah, guilt to me, it sounds like... Guilt to me is like a made up... It's almost like if you were trying to get me to say that I am guilty, it would be like getting me to say that I am a Buddhist, or that I'm a black man, or that I have... I have 6 fingers on one hand. I don't, these things just don't resonate with me. They don't exist to me, because that is not how I exist. It really, do you know what, guilt, I used to think it was a mental illness as a kid, because you see guilt in TV shows. People will have like a rainy cloud over their head, or they'll hear voices in their head, or they'll feel sick. And so I always thought guilt was like a mental or a physical sickness. And I thought, God, I hope I never catch that. Turns out you can't quite catch guilt. Either you have it or you don't. But the thought of a guilty person, I wouldn't even really know where to begin, to be honest with you. It just doesn't... remorse as well, feeling sorry, feeling like you've done something wrong. What does that feel like? Does it feel like the same way, or is there a feeling for literally every single thing? Is there a feeling for the way that I turned my camera on when I started, recording this video? No, I just turned my camera on, and I did it because I wanted to. I've done my own academic paper on myself, and this did help speed along the process as well. I can't read that to you. I've done the LSRP, the Levinson self-report psychopathy measure screening. I've also done the triarchic psychopathy measure screening. That is an interesting one. It was made by a group of doctors. Their names escape me, but brilliant people all around, very smart, very accurate test as well, I find. There's a possible 174 points in this. It's a self-report test, so it's 66 or 68 questions, something like that. It's over 60 questions, asking you certain things, what you've done, and if you do it honestly, you might get some very surprising results. I scored, out of a possible 174, 131, which sounds high, but it's a lot higher than it sounds actually. It measures 3 traits in a person's personality: boldness, meanness, like callousness, being mean, and disinhibition. So for boldness, I had a score of 51. I'm a pretty bold guy. When I'm out there, I'm out there. I've always been that way. My meanness score was 43. I don't go out of my way to be mean. I wouldn't say, at least not anymore. But I can. I'm a pretty nonchalant guy, I would say. I'm in my own world. I'm doing my own thing. If I don't care, then I don't care. And my disinhibition score is 37. That's like being emotionally unattached from your actions, kind of like a drunk person who's disinhibited. So it says that this score places this individual, being me, in the 99th percentile on the triarchic psychopathy measure screening. In other words, this individual's score is higher than 99% of other people of the same age and gender. So it says very high risk for psychopathy. A person with this score has much higher levels of psychopathic traits than other adults of their gender, because you have to put your age and your gender before you start, for collective data purposes. And then it gave me a link to seek help from a professional, but I was already diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder by that point. Yeah, I've tried to reach out for research as well. I've got research referrals that I've sent off, and that is about it. If you want to see these results and you want to read these for yourself, they're on my Instagram. I'm going to link the post below in the description if I can. If I can't link the post, my account link will be there, and you'll know which one it is straight away if you scroll right down. It's one of the first posts nearly that I've done, and you'll see there's like a picture of a document, and it's you'll know when you see it. I'm actually filming this now before I leave to go to university. Yeah, quick life update, I guess, at the end of this. Uni's going really well. I'm finishing one of my assignments today. I haven't been spending too much of my lunch breaks or my breaks interacting with people. I just tend to stay sat in the classroom for more or less the whole day. You know, the grind doesn't stop, as they say. And I'll only have one more assignment to do after that, so I'm ahead on that. I haven't had any hate comments yet. I'm really surprised by that. I have been told, and it wasn't as a hate comments, but I get told all sorts of weird things. I've been told that I look like the white version of Javier Bardem, Anton Chigurh, from the film No Country for Old Men. But I do model my hair after him, so I'll take it as a compliment. Make sure you hit the like button below. There's a little likey thumbie up button. You want to click on that, you want to press that, and I mean, you probably already are, you already have. Yeah, leave a comment as well, let me know what you thought. I want to do comment reaction videos. So guys, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed it all. I'll be seeing you in the next video. So take care for now, and arrivederci.